we tried to avoid the whole controversy about refusal of service from for-profit businesses, and that's why I was surprised that the governor vetoed the bill today, because of the level of compromise we engaged in to get a bill to his desk.
So, Jonathan, how do you answer the senator's comment there that it really that this particular bill didn't affect, would not have affected businesses, including some that threatened to boycott Georgia, but really only applied to pastors offering religious services, religious-based nonprofits, and the like?
Well, we've seen this before, and I imagine we're going to see this again, that it starts there and it very quickly accelerates to discrimination in all forms of economic service, public and private sector. So what we hope to see now is Governor Deal call his good friend Governor McCrory in North Carolina and walk this back and make sure that they see the same business case that our corporate partners make, that it's morally reprehensible and utterly damaging for business to have this kind of open-ended policy that could eventually spiral out of control and allow discrimination against everyone.
Even though it was only limited to religious institutions?
In this one instance, but we've seen much more stringent bills across the country.
But not in this one.
Not in this one, in this particular instance, but there have been multiple versions that were edited before it got to the governor's desk, and who knows where it could go had it been passed.
So, Senator, how would you feel if a new bill were brought that extended some of the, quote, religious belief protections to business owners? Would you favor that kind of legislation as you favored the one that was in front of the House that you say pertained only to pastors and religious-based nonprofits?
Well, I certainly don't think people stop being a person of faith because they walk out of their door in the morning and go to the office. But the point is, I mean, the governor's vetoed a bill that's much more narrowly tailored. And I think the question that needs to be answered is, are we really saying that religious schools can't make decisions on employment to reinforce the teachings of the religious institution that's sponsoring the school? Are we saying that a church or a house of worship can't make employment decisions that reinforce the teachings of that church or house of worship? Are we saying religious nonprofits have to fundamentally violate their own religious teachings to be able to continue their ministry? I mean, these are the hard questions that, frankly, the minority party in the debate couldn't answer. And I really continue to be at a loss as to why the governor wouldn't sign a bill with these very narrow protections that simply dealt with direct providers of religious services.
You know, lots of questions there. Good questions, I think, Jonathan. How do you answer the senator on that?
Well, I would ask the senator, Senator, you have to be aware by now that you have LGBT constituents living in your district. And whether they are business owners or consumers or attendees and congregants of some of these religious institutions, they're part of the cohesive fabric of your community. And discrimination against one in any sector is discrimination against all in all sectors. And are you really willing to tell those LGBT business owners and consumers that the jobs they create and the businesses they innovate and the GDP that they add to the state of Georgia is less than their straight compatriots in the state? I don't think you are, and I don't think that that's the case that any business or private institution would allow you to make.
Is to allow one side of this debate to aggregate the power of government to punish religious beliefs that they don't like. We have over a 2-century history in this country of being able to have a pluralistic religious culture where people of various faiths can live and let live. And what we're beginning to see is a very dangerous trend of people trying to aggregate the power of government to punish people that have religious beliefs that they don't agree with. And that's an incredibly dangerous trend. It's something we need to arrest. That's what we were trying to do with House Bill 757. I'm sure we're going to continue to try to do it in the wake of the governor's veto. I think that's a responsible public policy. I think most people agree with that, regardless of their walk of life. They want all faiths to be respected. They want all faiths to be treated equally by the government. They don't want the government putting its thumb on the scale and saying, well, if you have religious beliefs that fall in column B, we're going to tax you, we're going to revoke the accreditation of your school, we're going to revoke your license for your professional work to be able to do your job. Nobody wants to see us go down that road, and that's what we were trying to prevent with House Bill 757.
We have to leave it there. I'm sure this will be a topic that we